And now we're going to turn things over to IT architect Chet Ramey for an update regarding Amazon Web Services Workspaces. Chet, over to you.
Thanks, Tyler. I'm Chet Ramey, and I'm here to talk today about Amazon Workspaces. Amazon Workspaces is a service to provide virtual desktops provided by Amazon Web Services. Now, you might have two questions here once you get through those two sentences. The first is, what's a virtual desktop? And the second is, what's Amazon Web Services? Well, virtual desktops are a way to provide that familiar Microsoft Windows desktop no matter what your endpoint is. You can run them on anything from a tablet to a thin client to a laptop to a conventional desktop. And they're provided as a service by Amazon Web Services. Amazon Web Services is an infrastructure as a service provider that's part of Amazon, that same large company that we patronize every holiday season. Infrastructure as a service in this case means things like computing and storage and networks and other things that you need to build services. Amazon provides all that for you. So why do we want to do virtual desktops? There are two basic reasons. One, it's all about managing the version of Windows that you're running and about how to access it. So it's very easy to manage one computing image for a whole group of people, be that a class or a department or a work group. It's very easy using virtual desktops to provide them the same uniform computing environment. And not only can you provide the same computing environment, they can access it from anywhere. They're no longer tethered to a desktop or a lab or an office. Since you communicate with a virtual desktop over the network, you can get to it from anywhere at any time. The final two reasons that people are interested in virtual desktops are security. It's very easy to patch and manage security issues on a single version of Microsoft Windows than having to go to a bunch of different computing endpoints and update or patch all of them. And agility. It's very easy to roll out a complete computing environment that can suit, as I said, a class or a work group in very little time. So why should we use AWS if we want to go with virtual desktops? AWS provides all of the infrastructure, the really complex infrastructure that virtual desktops require. You have to have computing, you have to have storage, you need a network. All of that is what AWS offers as their service. Now, one of the most attractive features of AWS's service offerings is that they provide the infrastructure and you use the infrastructure and you pay for what you use. You don't have to spend the time and the money and, frankly, the complexity to install all of the stuff you need to use to provide virtual desktops. Amazon does that for you. And when you use what Amazon provides, you pay for what you use. You don't pay for anything else. It's all about you paying for the computing time, the storage, the network access that you use. So we had several groups interested in AWS on the Case campus. The first time we got involved was in late 2015 when the Mandel School of Applied Social Sciences required a means to teach their students statistical analysis, and they wanted to use SPSS. Now, they had provided SPSS to their students as part of a lab offering for years, but due to a renovation of their building, that lab no longer exists. So virtual desktops were an attractive solution for them. They didn't have to provide the space, they didn't have to provide the computers. The solution was to provision a workspace, a virtual desktop, for each student and faculty member for a class. Now, when we started having discussions with MSAS about this, it was going to be fairly small. The scale was going to be 3 sections of one class, 26 students, and including faculty, there were going to be 30 workspaces. So in about maybe a week, we had something like that with all of the software that they wanted to use for this class provisioned and operational and ready to go. And very quickly, after maybe a week, we expanded that, and the ultimate total was 110 workspaces, students and faculty, for a total of 6 classes. Now, MSAS had a very, very successful pilot, so other places on campus, schools, departments, work groups, are looking at things like workspaces and virtual desktops for things they want to do. Why would they want to do this? Well, the first obvious choice is lab replacement. Why do you use labs? Well, you use labs to make software available to students or to give them a place to use software that they wouldn't ordinarily have on their own computers. You also have labs where you can provide training to faculty or staff or students, and you can conduct classes. In short, any situation where you need a managed, secure, uniform computing environment. And that is it for today. Do we have any questions?
Thanks, Chet, for that update. So just one question that you already kind of spoke to briefly. So can users install their own software on an AWS workspace?
Yes and no. It depends on the use that the department wants. In some cases, a department might want to, say, provide their students with something that is akin to their own personal laptop. You get a workspace, you're the administrator, you can install virtually any software you'd like on it and continue to use it. In other cases, like a lab scenario, the department or work group would like to tightly control the software that's on a workspace, and in that case, they can lock it down and prevent users from installing anything.